A very warm welcome to all our dear students, teachers, jury, and esteemed guests to our annual fest, Harmony Co-Creating Tomorrow 2022 ESG Youth, sponsored by FEXIT. Reel to Reel is a movie making competition, and this team building competition centers around the theme Breakthrough and aims to engage students by uncovering their creativity. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Dinu Raheja, Executive Director, TGFJ India, to inaugurate this competition. Over to you, Dinu ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sachin. And thank you to all of our students, teachers, and of course, our very esteemed panel of judges. We are also joined by principals and school directors. This year's theme for the movie making competition was Breakthrough. And I'm sure that the judges are going to be really blown by the interpretations of the theme and the movies that all of y'all have made. So students, I don't think you need to be nervous. I'm sure at the end of this, the judges are going to be on tenterhooks as to, what kind of result and who is going to be the one who is going to, walk away with some of the awards. TGELF is a not-for-profit. We are a youth empowerment organization. And, people find it strange that as a youth empowerment organization, why are you doing a movie-making competition? I think there is so much that you can learn through the process of making these short documentaries that you do make. It's about learning, work collaboratively together with your team members. It's learning about being creative. Apart from, of course, the technical skills that you learn as part of movie making, but you're also learning about communication. So I think those have been the reasons why we have continued doing this particular competition, and not to mention the skills, both technical and soft skills. So I'm going to turn this back to y'all to say, have fun, enjoy the session today, enjoy talking to these judges about what you have done, what is your idea, what's the message that you want to convey, and wishing you all the very best for today's competition. So with that, Sachin, back to you to get us rolling. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dinu ma'am. Okay, students, we have a very special choir performance by the students of PSBB KK Nagar, Chennai. A beautiful song on unity which conveys unitedly we work and progress, as teamwork is utmost important in all walks of the life.
से है प्यार जिन्हें देश से है प्रेम, कदम कदम से
and beautifully sung by the students of PSBB KK Nagar, Chennai. Thank you very much, teachers and students. Let me take the opportunity to introduce our jury members for today, Prithviraj Chaudhary, Surya Malhotra, and Udit Nangia. Prithviraj Chaudhary currently works in Mumbai as General Manager Marketing in the world's largest music label, Universal Music. A postgraduate in English Literature and Mass Communication, he has more than 16 years of experience in media and marketing, especially in film and Indian music. A very warm welcome to you, Prithviraj. We have Surya Malhotra also, who has joined us all the way from Mumbai. Surya has worked in film production, chiefly advertising films, since 2014. He is a director in Global Content Stock Agency and works with his family production house, PHQ Asia. A very warm welcome to you, Surya. And last, we have Udit Nangia with us. Udit has had an enriching experience of working in the film and television industry for 12 years. He has worked on a variety of projects that includes Bollywood feature films, a Hollywood film, television show, and award-winning feature documentaries for Discovery Channel, History Channel, and National Geographic Channel. He is currently directing TV shows, documentaries, and films. A very warm welcome to you, Udit. So before we start today's competition, let's have a look at the name of the finalists who have made it to the final round. We have Delhi Public School, Srinagar. We have Ma Anandmai Memorial School, Dehradun. Maharaja Savai Mansingh Vidyalaya, Jaipur. Maharaja Savai Bhavani Singh School, Jaipur. Padma Shashadri Balabhavan School, Chennai. PYDS Learning Academy, Dehradun. Scottish Eye International School, Gurugram. Springdale's School, Pusa Road, New Delhi. Tagore International School, Vasant Vihar. Vidyagyan, Bulandshahr. Vivek High School, Chandigarh. And Wellam School, Dehradun. Students, do keep in mind the competition rules. We will be playing your movie. After that, we will be assigning you 2 minutes for the pitch, followed by question and answers for 2 minutes. Requesting all the participants to please put their cameras on while they're speaking, and please put yourself on mute when you're not speaking. Check the mic and make sure it sounds right, boys.
Come on, boys! अबे पढ़ क्या रहा है? आज तो बास्केटबॉल टीम सिलेक्शन है। मैथ्स का काम भी तो था। छोड़ ना, चल बास्केटबॉल खेलने। चल।
कैप्टन, याद रखना, जो टीम मैक्सिमम पास करेगी वही जीतेगी, ठीक है?
जो टीम मैक्सिमम पास करेगी वही जीतेगी, ठीक है?
छोड़ देगा क्या भाई? अरे वो छोड़ यार, ये बता यार, ये बिल्डिंग कैसे बनाओ? दिखा दी ना अपनी फिजिक्स। भाई पर्सपेक्टिव, तू ऑब्जेक्ट को नीचे से देख रहा है ना, तो नीचे बड़ा और ऊपर छोटा होगा। नाइस आइडिया यार।
क्लास, आज हम लोग स्टिल लाइफ बनाएंगे और ये पेंटिंग देखो, डीटो सेम टू सेम करना है तुम्हें, ठीक है? चलो शुरू हो जाओ, पेन और पेंसिल ले लो।
अरे ये लिस्ट किस चीज की लगी है? अरे हाँ, ओवरऑल एक्सीलेंस की लिस्ट में तो लगनी थी आज। चल नाम चेक कर दे। अरे नीचे से चेक कर यार। यस, कुछ भी सही नहीं चल रहा यार। भाई समीर, तेरे प्रोजेक्टाइल मोशन ने तो टीम में सिलेक्शन करा दिया। और हाँ, तेरे पापा हैं, ये प्रिंसिपल ऑफिस खुला है। पापा हैं?
देखिए सर, अब आप ही देख लीजिए। ऐसा ही चलता रहा तो इसकी तो आगे गाड़ी चलने नहीं वाली। एक चीज और, ये तो सुनता नहीं है।
बेटा कुछ भी कर, बस मेरा सिर मत छू।
समीर भाई थैंक यू यार, आज तेरी वजह से मेरी पेंटिंग इस वॉल पे है। भाई क्या फायदा इन सब चीजों का जब टीसी मिलने वाली हालत है। भाई आर्ट तो मेरी भी अच्छी है और बास्केटबॉल में शॉट भी सारे रहे थे और ओएमआर में टिक भी सारे मारे थे मैंने। सही क्या बोला तूने? टिक मारे थे? भाई गोले बढ़ने होते हैं। गोले? हाँ। और ना शायद यही तेरी प्रॉब्लम है, तू किसी की सुनता ही नहीं है, तू किसी की सुनता ही नहीं है, तू किसी की सुनता ही नहीं है।
क्या मैं सही में किसी की नहीं सुनता?
अरे ये तो सुनता ही नहीं है, तो सुनता ही नहीं है, तो सुनता ही नहीं है, तो सुनता ही नहीं है।
अरे ये तो समीर भैया है ना, सुना है ये सुनने लग गए।
A hearty congratulations to all the winners. And now, the overall excellence prize goes to Sameer Pundi.
आप में से काफी लोग मुझे यहाँ देखकर हैरान होंगे कि मुझे अवार्ड क्यों मिल रहा है। बट लेट मी टेल यू वन फैक्ट, टैलेंट हम सभी में होता है, मगर उसे चैनलाइज करना हम में से बहुत कम लोगों को आता है। Because our life is full of distractions. जिनको मैंने ओवरकम करना सीख लिया। एंड वन मोर थिंग, सुनता तो मैं पहले भी था, मगर क्या सुनना है मुझे अब पता चला।
ओ हेलो, अपना मेडल तो लेते जाओ।
अरे ये तो सुनता ही नहीं है।
समीर योर टर्न। समीर बोलना भाई। अरे यार ये तो सुनता ही नहीं है।
And this is how we came up with the idea. During our brainstorming session, the same thing happened. Our ideas were clashing and we were not able to come to a mutual understanding. As he shouted that ये तो सुनता ही नहीं है, and this was the euphoria for us. Sunta Hoon is not just a 5-minute film. Rather, it is the story of every individual sitting over here.
Thoroughly enjoyed your film. I really liked the concept, and I loved the treatment.
Me as well.
It was entertaining. It kept me hooked from the moment go. So I was interested to see it till the very last second.
Did you know there are around 253 million blind people in the world? Over 60% of childhood blindness is the result of genetic factors.
What if I told you there was a way to not only cure eye diseases caused by genes, but also diseases like HIV and herpes?
The answer lies in our DNA, the code of life.
Deoxyribonucleic acid or DNA acts like an instructor to the building blocks of our cells.
It defines everything, from the color of our eyes to the texture of our hair. However, errors and mutations that may occur naturally lead to genetic disorders.
This is where a magical tool called CRISPR-Cas9 comes in.
In bacteria, CRISPR acts like a huge library of DNA which stores the invading DNA of viruses that attack the bacteria. When a similar virus tries to attack again, a librarian known as Cas9 jumps in and scans through the DNA. And if it finds a match, it simply cuts out the invading DNA from the virus, thus disabling it.
Scientists have found a way to use Cas9 to similarly cut out any unwanted gene by using the guide RNA and even replace it with a wanted version of the gene through a process called homology-directed repair. Scientists can now precisely eliminate the genetic errors that cause genetic disorders and even find CRISPR to be promising against cancer. Soon, I'll be able to change the color of my eyes or give myself super strength and super intellect. Genetic engineering has the potential to change the world, but the question lies, should humans be allowed to genetically engineer themselves?
Today, scientists can use CRISPR to engineer the genome in ways barely imaginable before, repairing genetic mutations, removing pathogenic DNA sequences, inserting therapeutic genes, turning genes on or off, or more. And today we leave you with the question, what will you choose to do with this awesome power?
CRISPR-Cas9 is a revolutionary technique which was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. It is also known as gene scissors because that is the basic ideology behind it. It allows you to cut DNA exactly where you want it. We chose this particular breakthrough because we believe it has the potential to eradicate diseases and improve the overall quality of life.
Impressed at how creatively you guys chose this topic and the way you chose to present it. That video was actually quite enjoyable. And it does show how simple filmmaking in a sense can be.
Great effort, guys. So I really like that you chose the animated, path to explain. It was like infographics.
Give her the slim, small nose of her grandmother.
Hazel eyes and beautiful black hair is a must.
Chalo, thank you. Meet you on the next appointment. Hi, आज फिर एक couple designer baby के लिए आया था.
Oh, life must be tough. But do you remember life before CRISPR?
Doctor, my daughter with leukemia just fainted.
Doctor, why is my chemo not working? I'm not even 16 yet.
Doctor, मेरी माँ को बचा लो.
97.3 रेड एफएम के साथ ट्रू स्टोरीज.
फ्लड ने हमारी पूरी फसल बर्बाद कर दी. अब ना हमारे पास बेचने के लिए कुछ है ना खाने के लिए. मेरे पूरे परिवार का पालन पोषण कैसे होगा?
I feel so helpless. I do what I do to help these people, but I'm unable to alleviate their troubles.
Little did we know that right then the creators of the solution to our problems were being awarded for their discovery.
Was it not 2020 when Miss Jennifer Doudna and Miss Emmanuel Charpentier won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for CRISPR? Our saviors. Oh, my daughter is calling me. Do you mind if I attend this call?
Oh, of course not. Go ahead.
Hi, Ma. So I have to make a science project for school on CRISPR. Can you tell me what it is?
You could not have chosen a better time. What a coincidence.
Your mama and I were just discussing this. Let's tell you the story behind CRISPR.
This gene editing technique is based on the natural defense mechanism found in some bacteria. It uses a specific enzyme, Cas9, to identify where to make their cuts. CRISPR was discovered by scientists Jennifer Doudna and Emmanuel Charpentier.
Oh yes, I've heard about them. In my research, I discovered that Miss Jennifer struggled a lot with biochemistry in college, and Miss Emmanuel, being from France, was considered an outsider.
Exactly. Everybody has their struggles. For us, CRISPR was momentous. It came and revolutionized gene editing for all of humanity. But for them, it was a process, a journey. They persevered through their struggles.
Beta wondered if they had not imagined that something like CRISPR could be used for human gene editing. Imagine if they did not have the equipment to research it. Imagine if they did not have their team of scientists supporting them. Imagine if they had given up.
Bacha, you see, resting to one person as the inventor of something ignores the century of science which enabled their legacy to exist in the first place. Each endeavor is a joint effort.
Yes, Mama. Yes, Auntie. Now I understand how creativity, determination, and the contributions and advancement before us is so important for science and scientific breakthroughs. You know, I also learned that they were the first two women to receive a Nobel Prize together.
For sure, say that yes. You can.
They can start to picture themselves doing this someday.
Absolutely.
And
The fact that science becomes more modern and involves more female leaders. And I do hope that it will remain and even develop more in this direction.
We never know how close we are to the little miracles of the world until we look around
and see lives changing.
One patient, Carly Mack, said that she can see colors far more vividly and feels safer well. One patient in the US said that his face feels extremely constricted and that his muscles would tense up even when he would try to lift up a glass. But after the doctors used CRISPR, he shared a video showing how he can grab stuff more easily and his eyes stay relaxed. Scientists have recently performed the first pig-to-human transplant. The patient was a brain-dead individual on life support. They used CRISPR to turn off the genes which would usually cause the kidneys to be rejected by the human body. But if you put an organ from a pig into a human, is it going to do what it is supposed to?
In this case, the pig's kidney needed to rid the human body of waste, and remarkably, it did.
Gene editing technology with immense potential and scope. CRISPR has applications in all the fields, from agriculture to medicine to human genetics and zoology. In fact, owing to its scope, we believe that it will not be long before CRISPR seamlessly becomes a part of our daily lives. We hope to showcase the elements required for a scientific breakthrough through the story of Miss Jennifer and Miss Emmanuel.
I like how you guys actually used characters talking to each other, and and not the characters talking directly to the audience. If I compare it to the previous film that we saw, which was also again on the same theme. Coming to the theme, I think the originality aspect is still not there. We've already had an overlap, and again, this is just a Google search away.
There could have been some camera work involved, whereas the originality aspect of it, he's right. It is just a Google search away. But I do think it was a great effort to bring something like this out on a medium like this.
I think I agree with what Udit and Surya was saying. I mean, while I know it's out there, and I think the cause of getting women scientists or the topic of women in science is a big thing. But I did think one viewpoint is that sometimes a cause film like this, where you have a certain kind of objective, a certain kind of moral, becomes very didactic. It becomes very as if you're preaching out to a class of people and giving them a set of morals and principles and telling them this is what the world should be like.
नमस्कार, मैं निष्ठा अग्निहोत्री स्वागत करती हूँ आपका आपकी आवाज के सबसे लोकप्रिय शो उड़ान में। उड़ान के आज के इस एपिसोड में हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर फरहान अंसारी और उनकी अम्मी जान मिस जोया। डॉक्टर फरहान अंसारी को परिचय की कोई आवश्यकता नहीं। हाल ही में पब्लिश हुई टाइम्स मैगजीन में इनकी लाइफ की पूरी जानकारी दी गई है। WHO ने इन्हें इनकी काबिलियत के अनुसार एक स्पेशल अवार्ड से नवाजा है। डॉक्टर फरहान अंसारी, we welcome you on our show.
Thank you, Miss Agnihotri. I am very grateful to be here.
हर सफलता के पीछे लाखों प्रयास होते हैं। प्रयास कठिनाइयों को पार करने के। डॉक्टर फरहान अंसारी, जो इंडिया के युवाओं के इंस्पिरेशन बन चुके हैं, आइए सुनते हैं कि किस प्रकार उन्होंने अपनी चुनौतियों का सामना किया और सफलता की उड़ान भरी।
मिस अग्निहोत्री, अगर हम चुनौतियों की बात करें तो चुनौतियां तो हमारे परिवार में सबने ही सही, लेकिन उन चुनौतियों से सबसे ज़्यादा जूझने वाली इंसान हमारी अम्मी जान थी। तो अगर चुनौतियों के बारे में जानना हो तो हमारी अम्मी जान से बेहतर इंसान कोई नहीं।
अव्वल तो मैं यही कहना चाहूँगी कि अल्लाह ताला ने हमें जिस भी चीज़ से नवाजा है, मैं उसके लिए शुक्रगुजार हूँ। अब आपने मुश्किलों का मुद्दा रख ही दिया है, तो आज से 15 साल पहले की बात है। मेरे शोहर मुझे छोड़कर चले गए। मैंने उन्हें रोकने की बहुत कोशिश की, लेकिन मैं नाकामयाब हुई। मत जाइए, आपका साथ रुक जाइए। कभी सोचा है आपके बेगम मीरा, आपके जो औलादे हैं उनका क्या होगा? मत जाइए, रुक जाइए आपका साथ।
जिद मत करो सोया, मुझे जाना ही होगा। ये लोग बिहारी हैं, अगर मैं ना गया तो वे लोग मुझे और हमारे पूरे परिवार को मार देंगे। और रही बात तुम्हारे खर्चे की, तो मैं पैसों का इंतजाम करके भिजवाता रहूँगा।
मुझे समझने की कोशिश करो जोया। लेकिन मैं नहीं चाहता हूँ कि मेरी वजह से तुम्हारे आयु और फरार के ऊपर किसी भी प्रकार की मुसीबत आए। मुझे जाना होगा, वे लोग आज से नहीं होंगे।
आफ्टर फ्लड के जाने के बाद मुझे डर सा लगने लगा था। अब मुझे अपनी दोनों औलादों की परवरिश अकेले ही करनी थी। फरहान का तो बचपन से ही सपना था कि वो बड़े होकर अव्वल दर्जे का डॉक्टर बने, लेकिन अब उसके सपनों पर मुश्किलों का सूरज चमकने लगा।
और शायद मुझे लगता है पिछली जिंदगी में मैंने बड़ा गुनाह किया था। आयूब को उसके अब्बू बहुत प्यारे थे, उनके बिना उसका बिल्कुल मन नहीं लगता था। एक दिन वो बिना बताए अपने अब्बू को ढूंढने निकल गया और आज तक नहीं लौटा।
माफ करना मीज़ान, पर अब और नहीं सहा जाता। नहीं समझ पाता मैं आपकी चुप्पी की वजह। जब भी मैं आपसे अब्बा जान के बारे में पूछता हूँ, जा रहा हूँ मैं अम्मी जान अपने अब्बा जान को ढूंढने।
आयूब को गए अभी 1 हफ्ता भी नहीं हुआ था और हमारी चौखट पर अब्बू जान की लाश आई थी। हम उस वक्त बिल्कुल टूटते गए थे। अम्मी जान दिन भर रोती रहती थी और मुझे भी समझ नहीं आता था मैं क्या करूं। हमारी जान आयूब तो हमें छोड़कर चला ही गया था और हम हमारे बस एक सहारा जो कि हमारे अब्बू जान थे, वे भी हमें अलविदा कह गए।
शौहर जिहादी होने की वजह से मेरे परिवार को बाकी आवाम से अलग समझा जाता था। फिर हमें उम्मीद नाम की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के बारे में पता चला जो हमारे जैसे ज़रूरतमंदों की मदद करने के लिए आई है। हम उनके दफ्तर गए। वहाँ पर पूछताछ के वक्त मैं अंदर ही अंदर टूट रही थी। फिर मैंने खुदा का सहारा पाकर उनके सवालात के जवाब दिए और फरहान के लिए वजीफ़ा लेकर उसका दाखिला एक अच्छे स्कूल में करवाया। मैं उम्मीद का शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूँगी जिसकी वजह से आज एक जिहादी का परिवार समाज में बाकी आवाम की तरह सिर उठाकर जी सकता है। अगर हमें उम्मीद का सहारा ना मिलता तो खुदा जाने आज हम कहाँ होते। सलाम है आपके जज्बे को मिस जोया। इस समझ और काबिलियत से आपने अपने परिवार को संभाला है, वह खुद में एक अजूबा है। आपकी मेहनत ने तुम्हें डॉक्टर फरहान के जैसा नूर दिया है और न जाने कितनी ही औरतों को उम्मीद दी है। मैं निष्ठा और यह पूरा देश आपके आगे नतमस्तक है।
As the topic suggests breakthrough, we thought of presenting a situation where most ignored section of society goes through a breakthrough. We had group discussion that led us to the conclusion that we shall choose the family of a militant. Since we have heard about the atrocities faced by these families when they are declared jihadi and marginalized.
I have to say that was extremely creative and it was a lot of fun to watch. There might have been a few parts that could have been shot better, but as you said, that light and shadow work was fantastic and it shows how simple it is to do something and give an effect to something without much work whatsoever.
I think it was a very relevant topic. I think we talk about this, we see this pretty much everywhere, and I know in a world which is extremely divided now in terms of, you know, the kind of inclusivity that we talk about, I think it's a very relevant topic. I thought to the point, the light shadow thing gives you points on technicality. You're trying to do something different.
Light and shadow technique, that's something that I used back in film school in one of my student films. And I remember it was effective then for the audience. And I must tell you, it was effective today for, you know, at least the three of us. Real good creativity there, guys. I really like the concept. Like Surya said, very original, very relevant.
Oh, Janvi, look, COVID की वैक्सीन आ गई है. Wait, really? And I think तुम्हें इसका first shot ही ले लेना चाहिए.
First shot? But why? I've heard that vaccines are very, very painful. मेरे को नहीं लगवानी.
They are painful. Pain होता है, पर उससे बहुत सारी बीमारियों से बचाव होता है.
Really? How?
The breakthrough of this vaccine is a very important discovery. इससे बहुत से millions of लोगों की लाइफ बची है.
Really? But how?
Okay, I will tell you a story.
For years, smallpox had cursed thousands of households. Once a person was infected, they had no way out. Most of the family members used to spend their day taking care of these sick members. The people and the loved ones waited outside hospitals days on to get a spot into the hospital or to get a certified doctor. But even after all this, the technology at the time was not developed enough, and neither were the medicines. There was no hope until in 1796, a scientist named Edward Jenner discovered the vaccine for smallpox. Not only was this the first vaccine developed, this was marked as a historic event. It helped save millions of lives, and it helped the scientists in the future to come up with more vaccines, including the vaccine of COVID-19.
जानवी, एडवर्ड जेनर ने फर्स्ट वैक्सीन बनाई थी स्मॉल पॉक्स की। अगर वो वैक्सीन नहीं बनाते तो स्मॉल पॉक्स आज भी होता, और कितने लोगों की लाइफ बच गई उस वैक्सीन से और स्मॉल पॉक्स खत्म हो गई।
हाँ, बट स्मॉल पॉक्स तो कितने पहले था, उस टाइम पे तो कोई मेडिकेशन या डॉक्टर्स ही नहीं थे। अभी तो देयर इज सो मच टेक्नोलॉजी, सो मच मेडिकेशन। मुझे नहीं लगता कि मुझे वैक्सीन लगवानी चाहिए।
Hi Grandma. I just got a message from my school saying that the schools are opening, but I need to be vaccinated to go to school.
ठीक है, फिर क्या सोचा आपने? What will you do?
My friends have decided not to take the vaccine, but I think आपकी वो स्टोरी सुनने के बाद में मैं वैक्सीनेशन करवा ही लेती हूँ।
Good.
Hello? Oh, hey! Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I got the vaccination done 2 days ago, so I'm totally fine. Yeah. You should have gotten the vaccine too. Well, I really hope that you feel better soon. Bye. Guess what? मेरे फ्रेंड्स को कोविड हो गया।
इसीलिए मैंने जान के तुमको कहा था कि वैक्सीन लगा लो।
हाँ, मैं उनसे 2 दिन पहले ही मिली थी, बट मेरी तबीयत एकदम सही है, आई एम वेरी सिक।
सो वैक्सीन आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। हर किसी को वैक्सीन इसीलिए लगानी चाहिए, दे सेव लाइव्स। जिसने भी वैक्सीन नहीं लगाई है, कभी ना कभी उसको प्रॉब्लम होती है, और लाइफ में ट्रैवल नहीं कर सकते, हेल्थ वाइज भी इश्यूज रहते हैं, इसलिए इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू गेट वैक्सीनेटेड।
थैंक यू सो मच।
We wanted our movie to be an eye-opener for all the teenagers who still believe vaccination to be pointless and unnecessary. The reason behind our hard work is one. We wanted to make sure that all those who view this movie have their eyes opened to the reality of vaccination, not being influenced by the myths.
I'm really impressed actually to know that you guys actually made it yourselves, because I thought that maybe some stock footage that you've used, but very, very impressive. The animation was very nice, and I think very creative and original.
I felt like you're giving a lecture on the pros and cons of vaccination, and it didn't seem to me like I get the story set up, but while the whole part about the animation being, of course, being impressive that you guys did it yourself, but I don't want to be told something which sounds like if someone is telling me, as if like a lesson. You know what I mean?
The fact that you guys managed to animate whatever you animated yourselves was thoroughly impressive. It is a great effort.
Hey, come on and sit down. We have a lot to discuss. I still can't believe it. You got the first call from here to your office and you're here within a second. How desperate are you? Do you not know who I am? Are you not scared?
The world has become very competitive, sir. I can do anything for a school, even if it means meeting the great puppeteer, the greatest don this city has ever seen.
Don't you dare glorify that name. It will only get you in trouble. Alright then, let's get to the point. Do you know the reason you're here?
Sir, to talk about your latest fight with the Malwa Mill gang.
It's much more personal. It's about my past.
It all started with his younger brother. 10 years ago, at the age of 28, he was killed due to a tussle with some bad people. After that, his only aim in life was to avenge his dead brother. He studied hard, became a lawyer, and the day came when he had to go to court. With his files in his hand and courage in his mind, he stepped inside. 3 hours later, as he stepped outside into the bright daylight, he could not believe what had just happened. He had lost the case. He realized that there is nothing good for the good men in the country. A victim of corruption, he turned into something his opponents themselves would fear. I'm sorry to hear that, sir. I didn't even know you had a brother. So what next? Did the police not do anything?
I had made a lot of friends.
Powerful friends. Police couldn't even touch me. I became a king. Some cheered for me and others hated me. But one thing was for sure. I was powerful.
I see. I wish I had a breakthrough like you. It's a pretty good story, but I'm not sure my boss will think it's authentic.
You know what? Why don't you show me that? Show this to your boss. He'll publish this no matter what. You know what? Take this.
Are you sure, sir?
I see potential in it. I think if you publish this story, you might actually get some attention. Remember, this coin, it is more powerful than you think. Pass it on wisely.
The main idea a storyline presents to the audience is well defined in the title, two sides of a coin. It shows the way people and media often distort and characters we hope for the audience to reevaluate the way they perceive people they have been portrayed as something via a secondary source, such as social media, television, etc. The movies aim to highlight the unfortunate but true fact that everyone has their own struggles and their challenges to overcome.
I'm extremely impressed. The story was riveting. I love this whole presentation of this whole journalist angle and everything. The editing and the cinematography was just It was brilliant.
And yeah, good work with the editing. I mean, obviously, I understand you must have had your problems with, learning and working on complicated software. But good stuff with the superimposition of, shots one on top of the other, and nice. Like it was refreshing to see what you guys had on screen.
Great acting, by the way. I thought it was, quite. I mean, I know we don't judge generally on the acting prowess over here, but I thought what stood out to me was, there was some great character development and some nice acting.
It has been rightfully said that if you put a rotten apple next to a fresh one, in the end both will be rotten. Such was the case of Hadi and his so-called friends. He fell into a cycle of pain and misery just so for a few moments he may fit in, without realizing the harm he was causing himself and those around him.
अरे देखो कौन आया है, इसी का तो इंतजार था। ना इसको खुद का होश है, ना टाइम का पता है, अपनी मर्जी का मालिक है। ये क्या हालत बनाई है बेटा, होश में हो आप? रोज रोज अपनी परेशानी उठा।
This went on for some time, to the point where he lost consideration of his mother and his younger sister Sarah.
दिन ब दिन आप बिगड़ते जा रहे हो।
He pushes his mother away, not realizing his grievous mistake, leaving Sarah to pick up the pieces. One night, Hadi, in his youth's recklessness, believing himself to be the right one, stole his mother's money and jewels to buy himself the drugs that were corrupting him from the inside out, and ran away, leaving his family penniless and bankrupt. For the next 12 months, Hadi's life was a blur of pain and drugs. He was living alone in a cold, tiny shack, drowning, thoroughly intoxicated. From a hospital, Sarah calls Hadi, telling him the news of their mother's accident.
हेलो 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 हादी हादी मम्मा का एक्सीडेंट हो गया हादी
And her need for blood which only he can provide. But Hadi is unable to understand her words, in a state of frenzy, thus leaving his mother and Sarah to suffer alone.
या अल्लाह ये नशे में मैं क्या करूं हादी मम्मा
In the morning, a government official finds Hadi after contacting various people about his whereabouts. He delivers the news of Hadi's mother's death, and Hadi feels real loss for the first time in his life.
तो आपको हमारे साथ चलना होगा, अपना खुलिया थोड़ा चेंज कीजिए।
जी आप प्लीज बार एक मिनट वेट करें, मैं आ रहा हूँ। माँ मुझे छोड़ के मत जाओ माँ। माँ मैं आ रहा हूँ।
He is accompanied to the hospital to claim the body of the woman who bore him. Hadi reaches the hospital and lays down beside his mother, seeking forgiveness. But there is no forgiveness to be offered from the dead, and neither from his sister Sarah.
Don't you dare! मुझे हाथ मत लगाओ।
सारा प्लीज।
तुम्हारी वजह से हुआ है हादी। हमने तुम्हें कितने फोन किए? सारा कितने फोन किए हादी माँ? माँ तड़प रही थी हादी खून के लिए और तुमने एक फोन नहीं उठाया। अगर तुम टाइम पे आए हो तो ये कभी नहीं होता। माँ हमारे साथ होती, हमारे पास कुछ नहीं था।
सिर्फ सब तुम ले गए थे ना, हमारे पास कुछ नहीं था अभी।
सारा मेरी बात
She pushes him away as he had pushed his mother away so long ago. It is true that to understand the value of something, it must first be lost. Hadi comes to a realization of his wrongs and decides to change himself for the better so that at least he may have his sister back before it is too late. Of course, there are still slip-ups along the way. The thrill of it still speaks to some past self of his left, but one thought of his sister Sara is enough to turn him away. Years later, Hadi becomes a therapist, helping children to overcome their problems without the need for drugs. At last, Hadi finds redemption after his tiresome but rewarding journey of loss and pain, and he learns his lesson of what really matters in life. As Dr. Allama Iqbal rightly said, सबक फिर पढ़ सदाकत का, अदालत का, शुजाअत का, लिया जाएगा तुझसे काम, दुनिया की इमामत का.
The film Sabak was made keeping in mind the current situation of the Valley Kashmir, a conflict zone as we all know it, and the largest impact of the conflict was on the youth of Kashmir. Drug abuse in Kashmir is rampant, with the main rehabilitation facility in Srinagar reporting a 2,660% increase in patients seeking treatment since 2016, primarily for heroin addiction. So much so that it has become a recurring thing for us. And that is the reason we targeted drug abuse in the film Sabak.
Shot very nicely. I was surprised in a pleasant way to see how, you guys managed to shoot it in a very technical way where you had cut-ins of mid-shots and a long master shot for every scene that you guys were doing. So it was shot impressively. In fact, it was edited quite impressively.
The topic was, of course, a burning topic. It's relevant in itself. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I mean, this thing is I couldn't really engage myself fully. The narration just acted like a big deterrent to me.
Real to real, a massive world through a minuscule scope. Science always lies unfinished. With every attempt to reach its end, new windows of possibilities are opened. From enormous elephants to the tiniest of atoms, science makes up everything. Science builds up each ounce of life, and an understanding of it is necessary for the advancement of our race. Each man should try his best to have a basic understanding of how the beings around him function. Prudence quaestio dimidium sciente. To know what to ask is already to know half. People who know to ask the right questions are a few. Those who try to find the right answers are even less in number. And further few are those that have access to the right resources. It is these people with the passion and drive to find answers to the most perplexing questions that need access to materials so that science and humanity grow hand in hand. One of the many steps taken towards this was by Dr. Manu Prakash. Born and raised in Meerut, India, Dr. Prakash finished B.Tech in Computer Science from IIT Kanpur in 2002. Soon after, he joined PhD in Media Arts and Sciences at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Dr. Prakash had shocked the scientific community by developing a pocket-sized microscope called the foldscope.
The idea for creating a low-cost microscope came to Prakash in 2011. When the Stanford University bioengineer traveled to a rainforest in Thailand, he visited a clinic with a sophisticated $100,000 microscope that sat unused in a locked room. He remarked that the station had a very expensive microscope that everyone was afraid to use because it was fragile and worth more than most people's salaries. He developed the first prototype in 2014 with an aim to create an affordable microscope that would be versatile and sturdy enough to work in field conditions and something that people felt they had the ownership of. It is a printable, use-and-throw microscope made almost entirely from a sheet of paper and is powerful enough to detect a malarial parasite in a drop of blood, yet costs just 50 cents.
Curious kids with a fascination for nature may have begged their parents for a microscope they could use at home. It would come in a big box and might have required parental help to get it set up. Children in less fortunate countries and other undeserved communities may not have had these opportunities. Scientific equipment like microscopes can be prohibitively expensive for impoverished educational systems. Likewise, until recently, scientists and healthcare workers couldn't easily bring microscopes into the field for research or to identify what was causing outbreaks of disease. This is one of the major problems where affordable microscopes have real-world impact. For many years now, our school has been conducting regular workshops and consistently familiarizing students with the foldscope and sharing seeds of scientific temperament from grade 6. Through this video, we have attempted to bring to the fore the efforts that our school has taken to popularize Dr. Manu Prakash's invention that has been a breakthrough in the field of modern science. After all, as Dr. Einstein once said, the whole of science is nothing more than a refinement of everyday thinking. Thank you.
The idea of spreading much awareness about the foldscope was always present, but we were unsure about the medium of expressing it. The preparation took much time too, and we also had to retake shots owing to external disturbances due to the unaltered and natural setting. Well, the primary idea behind our film is to spread awareness about the foldscope. One underlying motive is to show that scientific temperament knows no boundaries.
The concept was something that was very educational per se, and it was interesting. It was something I didn't know before, but it's a point Udit brought up somewhere before about everything being a Google search away, like an article per se. I will give you excellent points though on the acting.
For me, it was a lot preachy. And I don't think that we should use, for a film like this, you should use third-party content in the way you've used it, which is to say like, memes or pictures or statics like that. I think that sort of takes away from the cinematic experience of the whole thing.
क्या हुआ? अब ठीक है? अरे कोई अस्पताल ले जाओ. अब ठीक है? रोज की तरह काम पे गए थे, फिर तबीयत खराब लगने लगी तो आराम करने बैठ गए, वही बेहोश हो गए, फिर मैं अस्पताल ले गई, पर डॉक्टर बोल रहे थे कि कोई ऑपरेशन होगा, बहुत पैसे की बात है, फिर मैं जितनी देर में पैसे इकट्ठा कर
रो मत, अब अपन कर भी क्या सकते हैं?
क्यों? मैं करूँगी। क्या करेगी? अस्पताल बनाएगी? इलाज के लिए पैसे तो है ही।
और अस्पताल बनाओगी? मैं कुछ भी करूँगी, पर पैसे लाऊंगी।
दिमाग पे असर पड़ गया इसके, पागल हो गए, चलो यहाँ से।
रुको, जब अस्पताल बन जाए ना, तो आने से हिचकिचाना। पाव भर आलू का डाल। ये 20 रुपए हुए। 20 तो ज्यादा नहीं है। अच्छा ठीक है, 15 नहीं रहने दो। अच्छा 15 में तो देख, क्या ही बोले 15 तो ज्यादा है। तुम 10 रुपए का ही। अरे रुकिए, 20 की चीज 10 में ले रही हैं आप।
अरे भैया, अब कितने साफ करा लीजिए।
हाँ चलो कर दो।
5 रुपए दे दीजिए भैया।
5 रुपए नहीं है मेरे पास, 2 रुपए। आप 2 रुपए ले लो और मुझे नहीं पता।
अरे रुकिए तो।
क्या हुआ? स्कूल से निकाल दिया, पैसे मांग रहे हैं। पैसे कहाँ से लाऊं? पैसे तो है ही नहीं। बस कुछ दिन फिर मैं तेरे को आके वापस ले जाऊंगी, ठीक है? अब ख्याल रखना इसका, बहुत लाडला है मेरा। अस्पताल को और अच्छा बनाना है।
हाँ माँ, अभी अस्पताल और बड़ा बनाना है।
बहन जी, बच्ची का इलाज तो करा दिया, पर पैसे कहाँ से दूंगे? 10 रुपए नहीं, 10 रुपए, हाँ बस, उससे एक पैसा ज्यादा नहीं लूंगी तुझसे। धन्यवाद, धन्यवाद। अजय, अभी भी हमारा काम पूरा नहीं हुआ है। जब तक देश भर में एक भी ऐसा गरीब है जिसकी मौत कागज के कुछ टुकड़ों के लिए हो जाए, तब तक हमारा काम पूरा नहीं होगा। जब तक ये नहीं हो जाता, तब तक हम लड़ते रहेंगे, करते रहेंगे।
Our short film revolves around the life of Subhashini, a daily wage worker who built a hospital with the money she had procured in 2 decades. She had made up her mind to fight social injustice the very day her husband succumbed to death due to the lack of health.
It was extremely, well, I guess interesting would be correct. It was very well shot. The film flowed very well for me. And even to that matter, the background score you guys chose, the music was something that helped in the flow and kept people engaged and interested. So it was a very excellent effort. And thank you so much. It was great fun to watch.
I think in your film, music was a great tool to convey the emotions. And all up to the last, in fact, the moment when I saw that photograph, I didn't really know this was the story that you're telling is actually based on a true story. So that was like a last minute surprise for me. So I really appreciate all the effort that you guys might have put in creating this.
Hello, my name is Amit Qureshi. I never imagined to be on this stage in front of so many people. So let me start from when I was in school. मेरे पापा को प्रिंसिपल सर ने स्कूल बुलाया।
There must be some way that could help us.
It's a serious matter, Mr. Qureshi. The child does not focus in the class, and he's not able to even read and write.
Amit, wake up. Stop being lazy. Now read this. You can't even read this. How can you be so lazy? But we read together every day.
Your child is very aggressive and violent. Many students have got injured because of his violent behavior.
But सब बच्चे उसको तंग करते हैं. आप तो जूते के लेक्चर बनने आते हैं, ना तो पढ़ सकते हैं, तो बेवकूफ है तो बेवकूफ.
Mr. Qureshi, I suggest you find another school.
What? You can't even read this. How can you be so lazy?
क्या मैं सबसे अलग हूँ पापा? नहीं बेटे, तुम अलग नहीं हो.
Mr. Qureshi, I'm sorry your son has a
specific learning disability dyslexia.
We could have found books on dyslexia.
Every 5 children have dyslexia disorders that involve difficulty in learning to read or interrupt words. Then these children need to be taught by sight games or visual memories.
High five. Nose. Big turn. Now a tricky one. Robinson inhabited island.
अब मैं और मेरे पिता स्कूलों में मेंटल इलनेस डिपार्टमेंट्स शुरू करने पर काम कर रहे हैं, जहां हम मेंटल डिसऑर्डर से सफर कर रहे बच्चों की मदद करते हैं.
The concept of inclusive learning had been in my mind for some time. My cousin has dyslexia. One day when he came home from school, he was crying. He had been bullied and mocked because he was different from everyone else. People don't know much about dyslexia. We decided to make an attempt to educate society. Our movie revolves around this idea.
That's a really good original idea and theme that you guys have chosen. And more than the theme, I love how you treated it. I really like the treatment.
Honestly, the one thing he's right about is full marks for creativity on using the green screen, full marks on creativity for the way music was used, because like he had discussed in one of the earlier films, music is something, it's an audio-visual experience. So the audio also is something that can make you feel emotions and feel a certain way. And all in all, it was very well shot.
कल टेस्ट है ना, पढ़ लेते हैं. ठीक है.
वैसे लंच हमें पढ़ना नहीं चाहिए
यार, मेरे पिछले सारे टेस्ट में बिल्कुल अच्छे मार्क्स नहीं आया. मैम बहुत डांटेंगे, वो ऑलरेडी बहुत डांट चुकी है, फिर वो घर में भी कॉल कर देंगी. पढ़ लेते हैं ना.
बता ना क्या हुआ, तू कुछ छुपा रही है मेरे से, बता.
यार मैं तो कैसे पढ़ूँ, तो सारे टेस्ट में कम आ रही है, मैम इतना डांटती भी है. मैं घर में भी कब पढ़ूँ बता. दिन भर जब एक तो मेरे पेरेंट्स मेरे से बात करते नहीं, दोनों अपनी जॉब में रहते हैं, और फिर जब घर में आएंगे तो दोनों के दोनों लड़ते रहेंगे. मेरे को बिल्कुल बर्दाश्त नहीं होता है. मेरा मन करता है कि मैं घर छोड़ के चली जाऊँ.
अरे तेरे ना पढ़ने के बहाने जी.
मैं यार मैं मजाक नहीं कर रही हूँ.
मेरे को पता है तेरे ना पढ़ने के बहाने यार.
तो मैं मजाक नहीं कर रही हूँ. मैं
Get out of my bus. I said get out of my bus right now. Get out.
तो आ गए तुम, एक गिलास पानी पिला दो।
पानी मुझे भी चाहिए, तुम जाके ले सकते हो।
खाना तुम खिलाती नहीं, इसका अच्छा पानी पिला दो।
खाना खा रहे तुम भी तो बना तुम ही सकते हो। मेरी ड्यूटी सिर्फ खाना बनाने नहीं, मेरे को काफी सारे काम होता है ऑफिस के लिए।
पिछले हफ्ते मैंने बनाया था।
कौन सा 5 स्टार का खाना बनाया था? जला हुआ खाना खाना पड़ा सबको एडजस्ट करके।
तुम्हें क्या लगता है मैं गंदा खाना बनाता हूँ? महीने का 20,000 कमाती हो तुम। कभी तुमने चीनी की फीस दी, बिजली का बिल भरा, राशन लाई कभी तुम?
ट्यूशन की फीस, उसका चीज का सारा खर्चा, उसके कपड़ों से लेकर सारी चीजें मेरे पैसों से होती है। और तुम क्या मैं कुछ नहीं करती? घर का डोनेशन
तो तुम ये मेरे पे एहसान कर दिए तुम।
बेटी हम दोनों के तो खर्चा हम दोनों को एडजस्ट करना पड़ेगा।
तुमने कभी पढ़ाया चीनू को?
खुद तुम ऑफिस से इतनी जल्दी आके बैठो या फोन चला के उसको पढ़ा रहा दिन भर। हेलो चलो बेटा, कैसे हो? हाय दीदी, ठीक है बना लो। क्या हुआ? परेशान लग रही हो? मैं क्या करूं आंटी, मेरा ना बिल्कुल घर में रहने का मन ही नहीं करता। ऑफिस से आके ही मेरे मम्मी पापा लड़ने लग जाते हैं, रोज के रोज लड़ते हैं। अब तो टेंशन क्यों ले रही हो? मैं समझाऊंगी ना उन्हें। उनकी लड़ाई के चक्कर में मैं पढ़ भी नहीं पाती हूँ। जिंदगी में होता रहता है ऐसा, टेंशन मत लो, मैं हूँ, मैं समझा दूंगी। मुझे आपकी बच्ची से लेके आपसे कुछ बात करनी है। ये कहिए
आपको भी परेशान करना शुरू कर दिया।
आपको पता है आप दोनों की लड़ाई की वजह से कितना इफेक्ट हो रही है? आप दोनों क्यों लड़ते रहते हैं? उसके सामने से अच्छा नहीं लगता है, वो किसी को बता भी नहीं पाती है इस बारे में, क्योंकि आप दोनों क्यों लड़ते हो उसके सामने? आप बताओ कितना टाइम आप उसके साथ स्पेंड करते हो? मुझे पता है आपके पास अब जॉब है, लेकिन आपको अपनी फैमिली में टाइम निकालना चाहिए ना। हर पेरेंट्स को अपने बच्चे के बारे में सोचना चाहिए, कैसे वर्ड्स को यूज करते हैं अपने बच्चे के लिए, उनको पता होना चाहिए।
सॉरी मैम, आपसे नहीं होगा सर। सॉरी बेटा, तुमने आपके साथ ऐसे बिहेव करा, सॉरी।
सॉरी जीनू, माफ कर दो।
My name is Amit.
My name is Aarti. My name is Sheenu.
I want to tell you that how we came up with the idea. Since we have real life example in our school, there are two brothers who was very young. They also faced same type of problem when their mother and father got separated. This issue has affected their social life as well as their study. So we thought that why we don't address this type of issue, because this is not rare in our society. That's how we came up with the concept.
First, I have to say the concept was excellent. It's a very real concept that you guys chose, and it's a very big truth for a lot of people.
Great topic. I think a topic that is sometimes often brushed aside. We don't realize what the effect of parents having a sort of a troubled marriage has on their children.
Really good concept, original concept, and I like how it's something that isn't really spoken about in pop culture, media, films. We don't really talk about it a lot.
ऐसे कुछ हुआ क्या?
Not really, but I need to talk to you.
बोल।
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and when I'm with you now, it's like I'm a completely different person, and I love that person. So Avi, when I'm with you, I just don't want the moment to end. मैं तेरे साथ जितनी comfortable हूँ ना, किसी के साथ नहीं. And I really like you, so Avi.
देख, मुझे कभी नहीं लगा था तू ये बोलेगी, but I'm so glad तूने बोला. Honestly, I feel the same about you. You know, I just feel safe around you. I never felt like this for someone. I
to say, but yeah, I do feel the same about you. But he's just 15 right now. Do you think this is right? I mean, my mother would freak out if she got to know, but I guess you're right. Hi, Johavi. तुझे नहीं लगता स्कूल लाइफ कितनी अच्छी थी? मॉर्निंग क्लब, पीटी, एसडब्ल्यू, क्या क्या नहीं होता था यार स्कूल में. कॉलेज ने तो जिंदगी बर्बाद कर दी हमारी. हाँ सोहाबी, आई थिंक यू राइट. बट यू नो हमने अच्छा डिसीजन लिया एक दूसरे को ना कट ऑफ करके, बिकॉज ऑनेस्टली आई एम सो ग्रेटफुल फॉर यू एंड आई डोंट नो व्हाट आई वुड डू विदाउट यू. Hey, I got pizza for you. Thank you. You know, my mom really enjoyed the dinner last night. She liked you. हम आंटी को मिलने को जा रहे हैं. इसमें आंटी को मिलने की बात कहाँ से आ गई? We're telling them you're together, right? Sahabi, I don't know how she'll accept it, यार. I don't know अगर वो सुन पाएंगी कि नहीं. So I don't think we should tell her. Wait, I don't know anything. We're telling her and that's it. Sahabi. माँ मुझे आपसे कुछ इम्पोर्टेंट बात करनी थी. बोलो. माँ आपको सहाबी याद है? हाँ हाँ, सहाबी को कैसे भूल सकती हूँ? माँ, me and सहाबी we're in love. तो दोस्तों के बीच में तो प्यार होता ही है. माँ वैसे नहीं, तो लोग जो साथ में रहते हैं, प्यार में होते हैं, एक रोमांटिक लव. माँ ये कैसी बातें कर रही हो तुम? माँ कैसी बातें? नहीं, देखो, एक तो मेरे को ये समझ नहीं आ रहा तुम क्या कह रही हो. दूसरा, ये टॉपिक और नहीं डिस्कस होगा. मैं तुम्हारे लड़का देखा है, उसे कल मिलने चलो.
और दीदी क्या हाल है हीर के? बड़े दिनों से मिली नहीं मैडम. मेरी भी बात नहीं हुई हीर से. क्यों? पता नहीं मेरे को. उस दिन आई घर पर कह रही थी लड़की लड़का, मेरे को लड़कियों के साथ रहना है. मुझे तो कुछ समझ नहीं आया. मतलब लड़की से शादी करनी है? उसकी बचपन की दोस्त थी ना सुहावी, हाँ उसके साथ. वैसे दीदी सोचा जाए तो इसमें गलत भी क्या है? अब आप बात तो सुनो, ये भी सोचो हमने भी तो आदमियों से शादी की है. क्या कर लिया हमने ऐसा जिंदगी में? सारा दिन चाय लेकर आओ, पानी लेकर आओ, खाना लेकर आओ में निकल जाता है. कम से कम आपकी लड़की खुश तो रहेगी. और नहीं तो क्या. अब इसमें गलत बात है ही क्या? नेचुरल ही तो है. बिल्कुल. आखिर वो आपको प्यार करती है, इसलिए उसने आपको सच बात बताई है. सोचो तो दीदी. या मम्मी घर चलो, भूख लग रही है. हाँ बेटी. दीदी एक बार जरूर सोचना, आपको अपनी बेटी खुश चाहिए या सिर्फ एक शादी की हुई लड़की चाहिए?
भैया जब से तुम लोगों ने मेरे को बताया है, मैं सिर्फ तुम्हारे बारे में सोच रही हूँ. I can't say I fully accepted this, but
माँ I'm just thankful कि आप ये एक्सेप्ट करने के बारे में सोच भी रहे हो. I know आपके लिए ये बहुत मुश्किल है, but thank you माँ. हाँ आंटी, आप ये बहुत मुश्किल होगा ये, but thank you so much. As the infamous words go around, find your fire. Good evening, respected judges. Today, we, the students of Vivek High School, present to you our short film named Heer. It all started when one fine day, all three of us witnessed a pride parade take place in Chandigarh. Though the bright colors of the pride flag seem to mask the pain one can witness, it was our will to dive a little deeper in the ocean of struggles faced by the people of the queer community.
Look, I'm totally taken aback by the topic that you've chosen. Wasn't expecting it, and really, genuinely props to you for this great
It's
stuff.
an extremely mature topic that you've chosen, and as you said, it's a very sensitive topic. So, like him, I was very blown away by where the topic ended up being.
What I really appreciated in this film, which stood out from all the others, which involved characters and conversations and dialogue.
I'm sure all the teams here present, they must have gained something or the other from whatever feedback you have given to them.
We will look forward to all of y'all coming back as well. And we hope that our judges who have spent so much of their precious time with us here today are also back next year just to see what next year looks like and what you young filmmakers will bring in next year to you. So thank you to our judges. Thank you so much, Prithviraj, Surya, Udit, for giving us your time. Thank you again to all our teachers, principals, directors who have joined us today, for sparing your time and encouraging your students and getting them to learn. It's not just about who is going to become a filmmaker, but there is so much that you learn when you're on a project like this. See all of you all next year.